India continues to have a serious issue of sexual assaults and rapes targeted toward women. In fact, violence against women has gotten so out of hand in India that pretty soon mobile phone companies will have to provide a panic button for India's residents. Now, all mobile phones sold in India from January 2017 must have a panic button enabling the user to call for help. Now, interestingly enough, starting January of 2018, mobile phones must have GPS tracking available on them. I feel like you should probably have both available by 2017 in order for this plan to be effective. Now, India did report a whopping 337,922 crimes against women in 2014, including more than 36,000 rapes. Now, understand that those numbers are pretty much underestimating the amount of women that are facing violence against them in the country. A lot of people don't report it because these cases rarely get prosecuted. Rape laws are rarely enforced, and a lot of the blame is placed on the victims.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you how this panic button would work. Keeping a finger pressed on number 5 or 9 on the new mobile phones would trigger an emergency call, the ministry said, with the smartphones. The emergency call must be triggered when the power button is pressed 3 times in quick succession. So that all makes sense. But the biggest issue that I'm finding with these stories that are coming up in India is that cases of rape just aren't taken seriously, right? So it's one thing to have that panic button, and I like the idea of authorities being alerted right away to come save the woman if she's in a questionable situation. But you also have to make sure that, rape laws are enforced and that the people that are accused of rape get prosecuted. That's not saying that someone accuses someone of rape and they're immediately convicted. I'm saying that they need to at least stand trial. You need to investigate it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and even where, conceivably not having the GPS, if you call and it connects you, theoretically you could say where you are if you're being followed or if they're not there right then. But also simply having a recording of the event in some cases could make people take it much more seriously. There are a lot of parts of the world where people think, oh, you're just saying you were raped. You really just had sex and now you feel guilty about it. And so this would get around a lot of that. But I want to return to what you said about the underreporting in India, because 36,000 rapes with a population of 1.3 billion, here's the tragedy. There ain't no way that's even close to the actual number. Their percentage of women who are raped per 100,000 people is like 1/3 what France's is.
Yeah.
France is not that violent of a place. So not only is it underreporting in terms of the percentage, but when you think about how much bigger the population is, it's an absolutely massive problem. So much bigger than in any other country simply by virtue of the fact that their country is gigantic.
Some of the statistics are so depressing because rape in India became a very big issue internationally in 2012 when there was this horrendous rape of a woman in her 20s in Delhi. She was out watching a movie, and then she goes on a bus to get home, and while she was on that bus, a group of guys gang raped her, and then they beat her with a metal rod, and they left her on the side of the road to die. Now, luckily, she didn't die, but that story led to all of these protests where women were demanding a change in, societal expectations of women, the victim blaming that goes on, and just the enforcement of rape laws.
Yeah.
Well, even after all of that happened, incredible statistic, India reported all of these crimes against women in 2014, a 9% increase from the previous year. Remember, this rape that led to all these protests happened in 2012. In 2013, you still have this uptick of violence against women, and in 2014, you see a 9% increase in rapes. And so,
or an increase in reporting.
In reporting, that's true.
That could be good news in a weird way.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good distinction. I'm glad you brought that up. But it continues to be a big problem, and it's especially bad in rural areas.
Yeah.
Now, this panic button is a good solution for those who have access to mobile phones, but in rural parts of India, men have made it almost impossible for women to have mobile phones or girls to have mobile phones. They think that it distracts them from studies. I'm guessing they don't want the women to have mobile phones because they want to ensure that they're not,
talking to other men,
just stupid stuff like that, controlling behavior. And so, again, this is a good solution, but only for women who have access to these phones.
Yeah, my one fear, maybe it's an irrational fear, I hope that it is we look at this and we think, oh, that will help some of the women. There are some people who their heart is in the right place, they want to help the women, and respond to technology like this by saying, no, it's not on the woman to have special technology that stops her from being raped. It should all be about educating the men to not do it.
Right.
Which I've always seen as an incredibly self-defeating thing. And it only happens with sexual assault. Like, we have locks on our doors.
Yeah.
We don't just educate people to not burgle. Like, there are people who are disgusting criminals in India who want to take advantage of women. And the women need to be protected. And there's similar problems in America. And so if something like this can help, and we have a version of this on our phones, that's a good thing. It shouldn't be attacked.